I let this one sit in the queue for a long time while it kind of percolated and I tried to figure out how to build a really good cleric deck. I think I've actually done it. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And today, Edison has asked me to play with a Cleric's deck. And this is a bit tricky because Cleric is not a particularly good creature type, at least within the confines of Legacy. And a bunch of the better clerics form the core of the initiative shell. Anointed Peacekeeper and Seasoned Dungeoneer are a fantastic way to do things off of Ancient Tomb and do something broken. But the remainder of the deck isn't very cleric-y. And if you try to stitch together a pseudo hate bears deck where the focus is the clerics rather than the hate, or the clerics rather than the initiative cards, I felt like all my drafts were just coming up short. And so the other thing that clerics are relatively good at is life gain. And I sat on that idea for a while too, because I couldn't figure out how to do something different than what I had already done. Some of the cleric decks in the past, well, more accurately, some of the Soul Sisters decks in the past had been good, but not great. And I felt like they were lacking late game card advantage. And then I finally think I got the ratios right. So this is what we're working with. I played a somewhat similar looking version of this deck a few months back on the channel that played blue for Mockingbird. And the idea is to very aggressively play out the various Soul Sister cards or Guide of Souls, also a cleric, and then funnel them into either Voice of the Blessed or Essence Channeler, which scale up very quickly and they can give themselves evasion, unlike something like Ajani's Pride Mate. The innovation here is to play both Haliya and Starfield Shepherd at the same time. What I was finding with these decks previously is they would have a really, really good turn 1 to 3 and then run out of gas, especially if you were doing something like Solituding to take away from the creatures that you could further play to board. So now we can do things like land drop Haliya, Lotus Petal, Haliya triggers off herself, Haliya triggers off Lotus Petal, play another 1-drop, Haliya on turn 1 draws a card immediately, and then can be replayed as a source of card advantage later. And part of the reason that I played Mockingbird previously is because I had my 4 Essence Channelers and my 4 Voice of the Blessed, but I really wanted 4 more copies of those things for consistency. Well, that's what Starfield Shepherd is. Starfield Shepherd is just additional copies of Ocelot Pride in particular. I am very heavy on the life gain portion of the deck otherwise. With Mockingbird gone, I will lose out on the ability to copy something like Orcish Bowmasters for all my life gain things twice and kill the opposing Orcish Bowmasters, which was really cool, but I think you just have to give up something somewhere. My goal was to remain mono white with this build once I started going for a couple of different reasons. Number one, Karakas is really good against Tamiyo, and Tamiyo is a cause of concern in Legacy, generally speaking, but also specifically for this deck. If I take the Solitudes out of the deck, I have 4 Swords to Plowshares as spell-based answers to Tamiyo. 2 Karakas means that I have 6 answers to Tamiyo, which I think is acceptable for Game 1 numbers. And I can also play Cavern of Souls pretty well on this deck. Cleric will get most of my payoff cards as well as all of my enablers. And Human can also get a lot of things from this deck. And I suppose there could be times where you even name Soldier, although I don't expect that that's going to happen. I don't think I get to be a 4x Cavern of Souls deck, despite being a... How many clerics ended up in here? I think it's like 18. Yes, despite being an 18 cleric deck, I don't think you get to max out on Cavern of Souls, because the way that you're going to win versus combo is probably just playing a Deafening Silence and then beating them down before they can find a Boomerang Basics or whatever to answer it. And so if I have too many copies of Cavern of Souls, my actual factual white sideboard spells become less effective. Now, I don't know if what I'm doing with the sideboard, the last 3 sideboard slots, is actually cute or good. It's probably somewhere in between. In the matchups that I know that are going to be very slow, things like Bug Beans, for example, we can play Heliod Suncrown and board this in. So whenever I gain life, I get a +1/+1 counter on a creature I control, which is great because that can put my 1/1s outside of range of Orcish Bowmasters, which really matters. The other thing we can do is play a very low cost infinite combo. So the way this works is you use Starfield Shepherd to tutor up your Walking Ballista. Put Walking Ballista in play with at least 1 counter. Give it lifelink with Heliod. You remove a counter from Walking Ballista, ping your opponent. Well, now that creature has lifelink, so you gained life when you ping them. You get a +1/+1 counter on Walking Ballista. You remove that one to ping your opponent, and that creates a loop. So for the cost of 3 cards in our deck, we get a slightly sticky, as Heliod is a little tricky to remove, especially when it's not a creature. You get a sticky infinite combo finish, and then you have Haliya, Starfield Shepherd, and Heliod as sort of your endgame inevitability. And we'll see how this goes down. I'm not sure on exact sideboard ratios of things. So, for example, Sheltered by Ghosts can be kind of silly in this deck if everything works. And it can also be, all right, I have to play this on a Soul Warden to keep on curve. Oh no, my opponent Bowmastered my Soul Warden, and now I'm sad. So, I don't know if I even want this card. But something I realized last time I played this deck is that I was relatively soft to things like Ensnaring Bridge, and I wanted to have a few outs to sorts of things. So, with that, let's go ahead and hop into a league here. Folks, should you need any Magic the Gathering cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. If you do, use promo code ThrabenU, save yourself 5% on your order. And if you're going to any major in-person events in the US, TOA will probably be there. You can place an order on their website in advance, pick it up on site, and it is very, very convenient. I pretty much do that at every MagicCon that I go to. All right, let's battle. Okay, opening hand has 2 lands, has true white mana for swords, has a Cavern of Souls. This is fine. Not as explosive as a Lotus Petal hand can be, but hopefully this is okay. There's a bird. Second Cavern of Souls is probably not super relevant in this matchup. Cavern's actually bad in this hand. It's very hard to go Ocelot Pride and Swords in one turn cycle here. I guess I'm going to play Voice. No, I'm not going to play Voice of the Blessed. What am I doing with my mana on turn 2? This is why I didn't max out on Cavern. I think I do Witch Enchanter, and I'm just very sad if my opponent wastelands me. Soul's Attendant is any creature entering, so I will start gaining life off of my opponent's stuff. I guess I could Cavern on Cat. Ooh. Alright, there's a Green Sun. Notably, Containment Priest, another, like, very, very reasonable Cleric that did not quite make the cut in this deck. Cavern on Cat, and then it doesn't contribute to Voice of the Blessed count. I think I just remove Fiend Artisan ASAP. I think that's dangerous. Alright. Goodbye, Fiend Artisan. Hello, Ocelot Pride. Do a little love tap here. Down to 20. Very nice. We'll see where I end up going. Voice of the Blessed will get big fast in this deck. Starfield Shepherd for another Ocelot Pride or a Guide of Souls is also pretty reasonable. Ooh, actual factual basic planes. I think I'm going to get a flyer going. I don't want my opponent gumming up the board. I think I'm not going to attack into potential endurance and lose Ocelot Pride. Fine, losing a cat token. There's 19. Ocelot Pride trigger. I gain another life here. Scaling up Voice of the Blessed. Make my creature. Scaling up Voice of the Blessed. Flying at 4. Flying in Vigilance at 4. Indestructible at 10. Which is not all that unrealistic. See what my opponent does with this. Okay, we are going more robots. We are officially at flying with Voice of the Blessed. My opponent does have a flyer to block it. Oh, this is what I was afraid of. Like, the way that I can realistically lose is my opponent doing some infinite combo bullshit. And this goes infinite with the green creature whose name I am forgetting. Yeah, Devoted Druid. There we go. So, I have a very large creature, but my opponent potentially has infinite mana next turn. I don't have the Walking Ballista in game 1, and even if I did, I don't have enough mana for that. I think we're doing Guide of Souls Crimes without mathing it out. There's Starfield Shepherd in my life, scale up my creature for Guide of Souls, put this on Cleric or Uncounterable. There's Ocelot Pride. I only have 1 energy. This is just 11. 11 is not lethal. My opponent goes to 7, and then an exceptionally large number of triggers are going to go on the stack. I'm at 33 after all the life gain ones clear. Well, I guess that's not true because we're going to get another set of them. So it's 41 after all the life gain ones clear. This is now a flying indestructible vigilance creature from hell, but my opponent is going to have infinite mana. Presumably, you just win the game when you get infinite mana in Legacy. So my opponent can now tap this for a mana, put a -1 counter on it to untap it, but then that creature just gets bigger, 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 bigger. Well, no. The +1/+1 is canceling out the -1/-1. There's a green sun for 5. Bright Glass Gear Hulk is kind of cool. You get Walking Ballista now? Yeah, so you get Walking Ballista. So that just kills me. I'm not going to make my opponent click through that. That's miserable to do from 42 life. All right, win is on board. GG. And opponent says appreciate. So I suspect that I beat the ever-loving crap out of my opponent every time that they don't combo. So we would like to shut off the combo if possible. My tools aren't amazing here. Nullrod can stop the, what is it, Luxior's gift, I forget what that artifact's name is, from getting equipped in the first place. I feel like I already just out mid-range my opponent. I think I'm doing +4 removal spells and not doing the Nullrods. This is expendable. Probably go down on one of those, down on one of those, down on 2 of those. My opponent plays a bunch of creatures, so I don't need as much redundancy. This is fine. It's not as good as my last hand, I don't think. I don't need to think about playing Cavernous Souls early here. Guide of Souls may or may not be better than playing Souls Attendant first. Playing Souls Attendant first triggers Essence Channel the largest number of times, but I would like the energy to give additional creatures flying in the future. Alright, there's a bird. Really want additional land here. I should not have played that land. I was thinking about deck thinning, but I have a Meticulous Archive. Yield all the energy stuff. Always yield to that. Punchies for 1. Not sure how exactly I use Path to Exile. I don't know if, well, goodbye Path to Exile. Yeah. Well, now I don't need to think about it. Okay, that's fine. I'll warp this. Trigger. Get an Ocelot Pride. I'll just that immediately. So scale up my creatures. Send in. Have exactly 3 energy. Say yes. Counters here. I'm attacking for 8 on turn 3. This is very good. Opponent's at 7. Facing down a scary amount of power. Not quite to the City's Blessing. Alright, there's the untap. And a regular tap. That is a Nature's Rhythm. Oh no. So that is a way to just go infinite very quickly. Nature's Rhythm being better than Green Sun within that context since it can go for anything. That is a second Nature's Rhythm. That gets the Gear Hulk. Or sorry, that is the first Nature's Rhythm again. That gets the Gear Hulk, which then goes and gets the Walking Ballista. And I am dead to that. Absolutely disgusting deck from my opponent. My starts both games were very strong. But my opponent has a very well-built, consistent non-blue combo deck. Great job to them. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views of multiple different natures, Moxfield has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. Got some friendly opponents today. Both have been very pleasant in chat. My opening hand is pretty good. Like we're going to be playing against an Is It Tempo deck. Opponent bobbles themselves. Might be for just immediate information about what they want to do with a cantrip. Ooh, damn, this Cavern on Cleric is going to be very strong. I'm going to give my opponent a chance to fuck around with this if they want to counter that. The sequencing for the remainder of the turn is kind of interesting. If I'm not concerned with triggering this immediately, I think I play Ocelot Pride prior to Guide of Souls. And then both of my cards are played undazably. That is a Force of Will. Now I'll go ahead and play this out. I get Lightning Bolted, which is super inconvenient given that I have two things that want me to scale up with lifelink here. I was really hoping that Ocelot Pride would just eat a Lightning Bolt, and then I would get to keep the Guide of Souls. That's not what happened. I'm hoping that over my next two draw steps, I just draw any of my, what are there, 11-ish one-drop Lifegain creatures, and then I end up playing one of those on turn 3 with a second Voice of the Blessed, because the Delver deck is not going to be good at removing these once they scale up. Opponent does not have more land drops. Fuck yeah. Which one is uncounterable? I think I'm going to do the same Days logic as before. It's just very awkward if there's a second Force of Will and I don't make this uncounterable. Okay, nice. Then this is uncounterable. Aha, that's a Days. I will not pay. Yield to that. So this is 2 triggers for this. Well, more accurately, one trigger for each of them. Send in for 3. Don't have the energy yet. Opponent's at 16. They really need to remove this. Oh no, they're too tight on mana. Uh-oh. This is a cat soldier, not a cleric. It's correct to attack first. Didn't change things this time. I will pay. My opponent concede. Alright, very good. So, I think I'm into Rest in Peace here. Murktide Region is one of the few things that can hit me hard enough in the face to plow through my life gain. I don't think I'm into Sheltered by Ghosts as removal. I'm into Path to Exile. And so then the question from there is, do I want to play this? I think no. I'm very good at dancing around Days. I don't think I need this. And from here, I'm probably just mucking with ratios a little bit. Like, go down one of these, go down one of these, go down one of these, go down one of these. Probably puts me in an okay place. Yep. Seems fine and good. Opponent fetches. The fuck is this? An abomination. Alright. So, bam. Bam. Think I'm just gonna say no now. And if you daze me, you daze me. But I would like to curve out here. 1-drop into 2-drop into effectively 3-drop. Cool. You're gonna give me so much life. What are you doing? Up to 21. Opponent bobbles me. Crashes in for 2. 19. Bobble, redraw. Guide of Souls is cool. I think I just try to get this going immediately. Alright. Always yes. Always yield. Always yield. Give opponent a love tap to 19. Is temporarily lightning boltable, but will be outside of that range in just a second. Alright, there is the lightning bolt. A Delver for another monk. I'll be at 20 and take 4 down to 18. Oh, nice. That way I just do everything around Days. Don't hate it. Alright, it's not Force of Will blue card as the last couple of cards, which is very good for me. Do I push 1 damage here? I don't think so. I think this Soul's Attendant is worth more. We'll do Ocelot Pride, gain some more life. Opponent's got Misty. Manipulate Delver, but Brainstorm on top of that is just good. Delver presumably flips. Preordain is great. My opponent wants to cast spells. Their Corey Steelcutter is ramping up damage over time by getting these additional monks. But, like, it is an overtime thing. They really need to cantrip a couple of times in a turn to meaningfully push damage. I don't think I'm going to mess around with any blocks. You're 4, 7, 8 permanents. Yeah, I don't think I'm blocking this turn. I'm pretty close to getting the City's Blessing. I mean, I'm going to try to get 5 draw of some kind here. That's fine. Fine. I'm going to draw that, do my warp thing, get a bunch of triggers, doing another Ocelot Pride. I don't think I removed the creature here. All right, so go to punchies. There's timelines where this becomes a 3/3 in combat. I think I'm just going to do this. Say yes, put my counters there, opponent to 15, stack warp on bottom, and now something very fun is about to happen. So, when you have multiple Ocelot Prides, you get to make a frankly stupid number of tokens, as you are doubling the tokens from the other Ocelot Pride. I am now at 34 life, with 2 sisters in play, 2 Ocelot Pride payoffs in play. And my opponent's got some serious work to do, because only one of their things gets to trample. So it's relatively easy for me to out life gain what they are doing. I have a path to exile for if they stabilize the board with something like a Murktide Regent. Opponent says, gotta say, I don't think this is my best matchup. Agreed. The opponent can send in and hit me for 3. Yeah, if they don't have some sort of spicy deal 1 damage to all creatures card, I think life's pretty tough for them. And with a second one of these, this is now just silly. Send in with you, send in with you, send in with you. First Guide of Souls trigger buffs the other Ocelot Pride. Second one buffs a random cat token. Opponent is going to bolt one of my cats. Reasonable. I'm still just attacking for 6. Opponent trades away the Delver. We'll end up at 12. I'm not going to use the path. All right, opponent aggressively brainstorming to try and make another monk. I will get a whole bunch more life. 44. Unholy Heat is very good. Mystic Sanctuary. Unholy Heat again. Opponent's out there fighting the good fight. This seems like a problem for them on a slightly longer time scale, though. Fine, just taking 3 here. 42. And I presumably just have to lose a Guide of Souls. Opponent's not going to give me another draw here. Reasonable. That's going to go ham. So we'll start scaling that up immediately. I will just send in with Guide of Souls. Guide of Souls into Lightning Bolt. Opponent is at 9. That is another Unholy Heat. Thinking about whether or not I'm pathing my own creature here. Pathing my own creature. That means that I have very, very few bad draws in the deck, because a land gets me to Starfield Shepherd, which gains me life immediately. Opens me up Murktide Regent. I have quite a bit of time versus a Murktide Regent, though. Okay, this is exactly what I was playing towards. So, bam. I know it resolves. I gain that life immediately. I think it's another Guide of Souls since I have 4 energy banked. Wait, it's as long as you've lost life this turn, it has Flying and Vigilance. Voice of the Blessed, that's 4. I think I'm good there. DRC has to come in. I'm totally fine raiding bodies there. Hold on. I hear cat noises. Mr. Percy wanted into the office, which is fine. There's Guide of Souls. I'm going to go to punchies. I try to go to punchies. Is another Lightning Bolt. Now 2/2s. My attacks aren't crazy good this turn. We'll just wait this out. Opponent is just passing their turn back. Alright, flying and vigilance. I will fetch, get a basic planes, shove for lethal? I don't know that I need to. I don't want to get, like, blown out by Brainstorm, kill 5 of your things, have another Unholy Heat take this out, and be in a terrible position. There's a Bobble. Actually, going all out last turn. Okay, what is the exact wording on Unholy Heat? Yeah, I think if my opponent Unholy Heats this, I just counters somewhere else. Okay, now my opponent has 0 cards. Well, okay, they get the Bobble. So 5, 6 bodies. I think this has enough excess attackers that I just go in. I don't think I swords ahead of time. Alright, we have gotten the GGs. Opponent had more removal than I was expecting. Like, double Unholy Heat, Mystic Sanctuary bought them a decent amount of time. But without something like a Murktide Regent to chip me in large chunks, the 3 damage that I was getting every turn was just ignorable. GG's. Okay. I would really like to draw another land within 2 draws here, but this is a pretty good hand. Cavern doesn't cast Swords to Plowshares, but we sure do have a lot of Clerics that cost 1 mana. We're going to attempt to do this one first. Opponent has some kind of response, and they're just trying to figure out whether or not they're doing it. Alright, Force of Will pitching Preordain, and then I will do an uncounterable one. Still would very much like that next land drop. Ori Steelcutter. I'm more scared of my opponent wastelanding my Cavern of Souls than I am them getting Corey Steelcutter down a turn earlier. I will happily take 2 here. Opponent gets their redraw. Okay, I do hit the land drop. I think this is just Voice of the Blessed. My mana efficiently. And I can presumably Guide of Souls after I get wastelanded off of Cavern. 18. Opponent brainstorms. My Voice of the Blessed doesn't die to Lightning Bolt now, right? If my opponent Lightning Bolts, a Corey Steelcutter trigger, I gain a life off Guide of Souls. Voice of the Blessed becomes a 4/4. The Lightning Bolt Guide of Souls, or wait and cast Lightning Bolt on my turn. Alright, so there's the land drop. 17. Second Corey Steelcutter. I like the parts of this game where I'm not getting wastelanded quite a bit. Oh wait, sorry. A Guide of Souls doesn't give me life off of my opponent's stuff. Wrong friend. I would like to make my next land drop. If I do so, Guide of Souls is counterable. I think I'm going to accept that. I feel like counter spells are not in my opponent's hand. Could be wrong. Alright, very nice. So immediate gain a life, scale a thing, get the planes, make the planes, make the Guide of Souls. I had the opportunity to daze Starfield Shepherd and didn't, right? I don't think I'm the aggressor here. Starfield Shepherd goes away. Now I get wastelanded. There's Murktide Regent. I've got swords for that. That's all fine. Full Warden is good. Let's warp this one. Trigger. Notably up to my 3rd energy. Get basic planes. Play basic planes. Towards the Murktide Regent. Now I might be the aggressor. Yeah. Triggers. Yes. So my creatures are outside of the range of Lightning Bolt. That's a Delver. That's a land. Gonna equip that Corey Steelcutter. That's fine. My opponent hits me for 5, brings me to 11. Bad. There's Warden. Gain the life. This now has Vigilance. Go ahead and send on in. I'm presumably casting Swords to Plowshares on Delver of Secrets. Alright, and we get this one again. GG. I think last time I went bam bam, bam bam, and did some trimming. Murktide Regent is scarier than Corey Steelcutter. I think I still stick by that. I could Sheltered by Ghosts, Corey Steelcutter. I just kind of let it do its thing. I did bam, 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 and trimmed one of these for what is effectively 4 removal spells. I think that game is so much harder for me if my opponent does not tap out for Corey Steelcutter on turn 2 and just wastelands me. This hand is great. Eluded Delta. Idiot Delver. Sure. I think I am feeding Swords to Plowshares to Days here. Negative. It just worked. 2 Delver. I'm interested in you later. I'll fetch a basic. Start here. I want to do this when I'm very, very, very likely to draw the card. I do if it resolves here. Lightning Bolt on this means that would, like, stop. I think I'm just going to play a Soul's Attendant. I have redundancy for this sort of stuff. I don't care if I lose one of these to a Bolt. Fetch to 19. Thundering Falls. Say no to Wasteland. I'm on double basics, which is good. Delver flips to a Chain Lightning. Opponent is doing this in a way where they get to Surveil, rather than a way that denies me more life, which is reasonable. Not pay to redirect Chain Lightning. Balding Tarn. Take some damage here. Oh, that's good. I think I'm just going to try to take out DRC immediately. That's good enough for a response. Lightning Bolt is unfortunate, but now I know about it. I think I just live with this being dazeable here. Archive, Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, Haliya, Starfield Shepherd. That all seems good. Ori Steelcutter is fine. I'm more scared of Murktide Regent. Unholy Heat is good for my opponent. 5 here. This will land. So, Guide of Souls, 2 mana, Starfield Shepherd, 1 mana, Plains, 1 mana, draw a card off of this while accumulating some energy. Yeah. Popo hang out on up over there. Basic Plains, this, Warp you, gain more life, draw my card. That's the 5th land. I have 2 different relevant cards hanging out in exile. Take a respectable amount of damage here. I think we're doing this around days. There's Haliya. Triggers. Go back up to 14. Now get to send in with this. I'll produce something that can wall the Delver as of next turn. 16. Haliya triggers, but I have not gained enough life. I only gained 2 that turn. Brazen Borrower as a creature. Good. I think enough damage is threatened that I do just block the Monk token here. Yep. Opponent was trying to push some extra damage, probably in a tight spot. I move Ori Steelcutter. Do a check. How many basic planes do I have? Okay, plenty. I'm just going to deck then here. All right. Into this. That gains me 2 life immediately. I will fetch. Play the Starfield Shepherd. Trigger. So I have 2 energy. Do I want Guide of Souls? Probably. Ocelot Pride is fine as well. Ocelot Pride. I think my flyers are going to be held back. I think I'll attack with this. Yeah. Haliya draws me a card. Alright, we've got attacks in. This is a safe block. I don't care about the Starfield Shepherd body. Alright, so there's a Lightning Bolt that will finish off Guide of Souls. Don't know that I care. My opponent's board is empty. I'm not going to think about this too hard. Triggers. Are we done? Yeah, we're done. That was pretty devastating. It was a little touch and go around turn 5, where if my opponent had some slightly different cards, maybe they can out-tempo me before I stabilize. But Starfield Shepherd and Haliya, like, proving that I do have some endgame inevitability versus a lot of decks. Now 2 wins? That's great for the Cleric deck. GG. Right. Opening hand is fine. They're playing against a Yorion deck of some kind. I would like a little bit more payoff. Haliya is fine. Haliya Caracas is cute. Ooh, that's good. Yeah, I think I just attack for 1 and then play this. Yeah. 19. Essence Channeler. Like, I am going to gain the life. I'm just going to brainstorm after this has resolved. Feels like weird timing, but allowed. I guess we deduce that my opponent does not have days in their deck. That's their play pattern. Alright. Scale up. Terminus is very good against what I'm doing. I want to just accumulate a large number of things. Okay. Yeah. Soul's Attendant. Ocelot Pride. Yes. Always yield. Warp this in. It's worth a card immediately. Bam, bam. Step. Make a cat. Which re-triggers these. I want to Haliya. Draw my card. Canter is kind of whatever. Opponent has land drop 3. Thematic ending. For sure. A little bit too much land here. I'm just living with that. Basic. Cast Haliya. This is something my opponent would like to counter, otherwise I can protect this via Caracas. Rest down. Sure. Stops me from gaining some life. Send on in for 2 anyway. Rest down goes away. Drop 4. Starfield Shepherd is bananas. We'll warp this. There be triggers. Opponent responds. You're going to just tell me you're going to Mystic Sanctuary for Terminus? I mean, thank you. That's very good information for me. Now I'm not going to play out a shit ton of creatures. I can get Haliya to hand. Ocelot Pride, kind of annoying. Ocelot Pride, kind of annoying. Land drop. Okay. Brain Surge it is. It feels like this was the wrong way to play that out. I don't know the remainder of my opponent's hand. Now, I bounce Haliya. I move to my second main. I have gained life this turn. Play Ocelot Pride. I get to do the thing at end step. I can also warp this out. And I've gained enough life to draw cards with it as well. Alright. Ocelot Pride trigger. Gain life. Draw a card. Warp that out. Warp that out. Fully Caracas protected the next time I play it as well. I think my opponent should have used their life total as a resource. Automatic ending is fine. Oh, yeah. I imagine that I'm going to be better at being the Monarch than my opponent is. They might get to be the Monarch in the short term, but I am going to go so wide of what they are doing in all likelihood. If they can Terminus again or whatever, probably favorable for them. So there's Haliya, not countered. Voice of the Blessed. I'll just take 3 here. Voice of the Blessed. I have some other Starfield Shepherd lines that cause me to drop Caracas, which I don't want to do. Turn Haliya trigger does not draw me a card. There is a Brain Surge. Another land drop. An Uro. Not a long-term problem if I have Caracas. Does get another land drop out of it. Get another card out of Delta. Rather, out of Monarch, sorry. I think I just send in with 3 creatures. See what happens. I could Starfield Shepherd beforehand to scale this by 1. Alright, so opponent double blocks. So I will attempt Caracas bounce here. My opponent does anything with polluted Delta. Nope. Now I become the Monarch. Warp or not warp? Warp. Gain that life. Put that counter there. I forgot about this trigger. Out. And 1 and 2. More life. Opponent fetching. Getting a land. I will Ocelot Pride with the City's Blessing. I can even go a little deeper. Warp this again. Extra life. Okay, that's a lot of... Alright, all this warp shit goes on the bottom. We'll resolve a bunch of other things. There's an Essence Channeler, a bonus card, a couple of cats, more life, which means more counters over there, more life, and I warp out 2 creatures. Leyline Binding, a big one, sure. Brainstorm, land drop. Opponent can Uro. Wasteland for Caracas is pretty good. They will send in with both to retake Monarch. I'm fine raiding with one of those tokens. Opponent gets their end of turn draw. I'll start trying to do some crimes. Rest down. Alright, annoying. I could just straight up don't play anything. Let dress down go away, and then have an insane turn. Another turn down the line. I don't need to maintain City's Blessing. Once I have it, I have it. Opponent sending in with both creatures, which may mean that a sweeper is coming, but if a sweeper comes for these things, fine. Life like that. 27. Fine. Don't think that needs to happen now. Fine. Opponent does draw 3. Land drop. 1 additional card, and I'll fail. Great. Not gonna much time plotting out exactly what I'm doing here. Get Leyline Binding. Sure. I'll take this as an opportunity to remove Uro. I play Essence Channeler here. Guide of Souls. Alright, Swords removes my creature. Another Uro is inconvenient. I have exactly 2 copies of Caracas. This one is tilting towards a loss, but we're not out of it yet. That dress down time walk was very good. Alright, there's up the beanstalk. That's not unexpected given everything that we have seen so far. I will take 2. 28. Opponent draws their Monarch card. Other Starfield Shepherd is great. There's Guide of Souls. There's Warped Starfield Shepherd. Yeah. I've gained life this turn. Ocelot Pride. Cast. Turn. Make some cats. Opponent's lands are jumping all over the place. Take out my Ocelot Pride. I only need them to draw like 30 more cards before they deck themselves. Both creatures come in. I think I just double block this token, honestly. Taking 6 is not that big of a deal. Oh, they have targeted their own Mystic Sanctuary. Cool, cool, cool. That means that they have Life from the Loam. Want to be able to Life from the Loam Terminus. There's Lorien revealed. Edging ever so closer to decking out. Alright, there is the Life from the Loam. Opponent has 12 cards in hand. They're going to discard a lot of stuff. Play lands. 2, 4, 6 mana. I will Guide of Souls. Opponent forces. I will Starfield Shepherd. Opponent forces again. Sure. There's Mystic Sanctuary. I just go forth Aerlingas here. They do. They can draw that and make an army next turn. That probably just beats me. I'm not going to do math for whether or not something that gains me life keeps me from being dead to fourth Aerlingas. I'm either dead or I'm not. Alright, they have just done it now. Don't gain the life next turn. Reasonable. There's you. There's you. Force of Wills. So they'll send in with everything, and that will be lethal. We had a ton of card advantage here, but we are not great versus Terminus. Dress down also a bit problematic. I'll block and still take lethal damage in a single go. GG, that was fun. Am I into Heliod? It's okay. I think I assume that this goes on long enough that Lotus Petal is not crazy good. I'll do this. I'm considering Rest in Peace. Stopping Terminus coming back with Mystic Sanctuary is kind of a big deal. And it hits Uro as splash damage. I think I'm okay with that. And then do I... The Walking Ballista is not a good card in this matchup. I think I will make that substitution. I think there's a very good chance that my opponent has to win game 2 or they lose the match. So my opponent is going to play a game where they are on the play. Their deck is so slow that they just recognize that they cannot like play another game and they just want to optimize their chance of winning. Okay. There is a lesson to the folks at home. Play a deck that can win games of Magic in a reasonable amount of time, or stuff like that happens. Rainforest and Ponder. Cavern Human, Cavern Cleric, Cavern Cleric. There's Soul Warden. Opponent setting up their mana probably. Suited Delta. Not a removal color, which is great for me. But Terminus is a thing that is incredibly strong, so, you know. Go to Punchies. Punchies for 1. 17. And then I play one of these 2 drops. I'm going to offer up Essence Channeler. 2. Terminus. 1. Not Terminus, at least not yet. It could be another card down. There could be a cantrip here. Could be an endurance right here. Okay, opponent is taking themselves off of white. I am a big fan of. Dress down is good. I will probably just play another creature here anyway. That's not my ideal card. I'll just take it. Send it. 13. I think I just warp this so that it stays around. And then don't play another card out immediately. Oh, that's not how that interaction works. Whoops. Sure. Counterable Cleric. Uncounterable Cleric. Scale up both creatures. Send in for 4. There's Endurance. Gains me a life. Scales up Essence Channeler, meaning I don't die to this in combat. Opponent just takes it, is down to 8. Burrow, a life, opponent to 11, fail land, back Uro, play Ponder, very fast shuffle. Alright, and we win that one. GG, I suppose. Doesn't feel the best. We did not play an entire real round of Magic there, but deck choices matter. Okay. Opening hand is pretty darn good. I get to come out of the gates swinging. Wasteland early on is really scary for me. Opponent mulliganing relatively quickly here. I hope they are not combo. We are doing a very good job versus fair decks. But, you know, my opponent's, there's just not much that I can physically do. Lotus Petal, Ocelot Pride, build to that. End of turn, cats. Hey, that's not an oops all spells land. Elvish Reclaimer. You've got it. I will swords the ever-loving shit out of that. As much as I want to get the other cat going, feels correct to just not let that card untap and tutor up a fucking tabernacle. Would not be prepared to beat something like that. Bojuka Bog. Ah, yeah. Alright. I hate this. Ocelot Pride. I have another. Pay for this. Missed the land drop. Fuck. Put my counters on. Get my opponent down to 14. Effectively dead to a wasteland. Which I imagine my opponent's deck will be pretty good at finding. Flush Portico. Card on top. Hate that. By Graveyard Ocelot Pride. Okay. I think I'm still just doing this for the energy. By the fact that it's annoying in terms of clicking through, losing all of the bodies. Yep. That's good. Like it is probably Loam O'Clock. Not Loam O'Clock. It is Loam O'Clock, but our opponent is a second main phase hipster. Upkeep. We're gonna lose some creatures. We did this for the energy anyway, so that's fine. Okay, nice. Their Soul's Attendant notably lets me get in for more points of damage here. Just do this immediately. My opponent needs a Maze of Ith next turn. None of those cards are Maze of Ith. Oh, I would be so happy if we get over the line and beat the Tabernacle. Such a huge deal. Woohoo! Alright, now we just need to do that one more time, and we get 2 chances. Jeez. Rest in peace, get the fuck in here. We need you. So, beyond that, what do I want to do? Is this kill my opponent as quickly as possible, or is this assume that the game goes on for a long time and have an infinite combo finish? I don't know. It might be a play versus draw thing. I'm going to turn 2 Swords to Plowshares into 2 Path to Exiles. This can either ramp myself or answer a Merit Lage without giving my opponent 20 life, both of which seem like a big deal. I could go higher on removal density for Merit Lage. And there's so many ways to board for this one. I think my default here looks something like that. A lot of tension here between wanting to go wide of Maze of Ith and wanting to go tall versus Tabernacle. There's a lot of things to respect here. Without playing this matchup a handful of times, I don't know that I have the best sideboard approach. I'm going to be relatively conservative here. Maybe that boarding the Heliod is just correct because my opponent's likely to stabilize at a very low life total, and being able to just 4 mana Ballista go is totally solid. My hand's great. The Lotus Petals are very good at getting me out of the gates quickly. I would not mind drawing something else to be aggressive with on turn 2, but Starfield Shepherd is fine. Opponent keeps on 6. Exploration. Immediate Urza Saga. Sure. Raucous is fine. Yeah, I want all 6 spells in respective Elvish Reclaimer, tutoring for Tabernacle. I don't know. Lotus Petal. Guide of Soul. Cat. Get my life. Get my cat. Saga ticks up to 2. Wasteland's fine as of right now. Shit. That is good. Would take out my opponent's exploration with it. That seems fine. Alright, opponent passes the turn. I can maybe get some damage in here. I think I'm just going to send in with these 3 bodies without making any other plays. See if I get 2 to 3 points of damage in. Alright, opponent's going to make the construct. They can block. Nope. I just keep those around. So, get another basic land. Plains, do Starfield Shepherd, my energy and life. I imagine I want to pick up a Guide of Souls with 3 banked energy already. I'll get my Ocelot Pride. Give me another banked energy and life. Not to the city's blessing. I don't think my position is good here. Last zone's very scary, and I'm not pressuring my opponent's life total enough that they have to use it right now. They can like Expedition Map, which sets up Tabernacle for a little while later, which makes setting up the whole Ocelot Pride thing way less good. 2, 4, 5, 6. Land is 7. Guide of Souls is 8. Sword of the City's Blessing. I don't play this out. Get another basic into play on Cat Token. Does not have a CMC of 1. Ah. Oh, it has crop rotation for Maze of Ith. Junk Wasteland. Oh, it's Savannah. Gordzing the cat token. Okay. Now what? Worth playing Guide of Souls for any reason? I think I'm going to play it for the cats. I think this is a game that I have likely lost. Path that I see to victory is opponent not having the next land drop to naturally Blast Zone. And then I get a Time Walk as they search up a mana producing land rather than something like a Tabernacle. Alright, map is cracked for Ancient Tomb. Fuck! Ah, oh, it's so good. Not think about Ancient Tomb. I don't regret my line, to be clear. All day? Great, all day. Alright. Opponent's left with a 1/1 token. I'm just going to thin a Plains out of my deck. I don't think I want to Surveil. I'm working towards something right now. Starfield Shepherd again. I warp. Guide of Souls, I think, with the banked energy. The Caracas for my opponent to Wasteland. Get warped out. Play from the Loam. Faster. Okay. That's reasonable. That lets my opponent hit in for 3. Gain some life back, which is fine. Imagine my Caracas gets wastelanded. I just have 5 drops chilling. Full Warden. Go on. Honestly, probably Angel. Doesn't matter. On Angel. There's Soul Warden. Punchies. Say yes. Opponent's down to 15. They can gain 3 right back. Land drop is great for me. I'll take 3. Go to 21. They're at 18. Another basic. Fetch. Plains. And that's good enough. Hot damn. That is a 4-1 finish for soldiers, which is very, very good. Although that is with the caveat that one of my opponents just straight up conceded a game too. So take it with a grain of salt. GG's. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. This might be the best Legacy Soul Sisters deck that I've ever put together. It feels like the ratios of cards are about right. It has a surprising amount of endgame with Starfield Shepherd and Haliya and just building up and accumulating board presence. The non-Guide of Souls Soul Sisters that trigger on my opponent's stuff are humorously good at buying time versus things like Corey Steelcutter. I think the pairings were favorable this league. I'm not going to lie to you. You know, if we are facing down Reanimators and Show and Tells and Oops All Spells, I don't know that we end up with the same results. But if you are expecting a pile of Izzet Tempo and Dimir Tempo and things of that general nature, this is pretty solid. I did not do the Heliod Walking Ballista combo. I boarded it in sometimes. Watching this deck function and seeing how much endgame I already have, it may just be that you want more things in the sideboard that give you percentage points versus combo decks. But this is quite solid. Edison, I think we succeeded at doing the Cleric thing. There's room for finessing this, obviously. Like, you could probably take out these 3 slots. You could play more removal if you feel like you need it. You could play some removal that does not necessarily ramp if you just path a Tameo immediately. You could try to get Sanctifier in Vex in there so that you have more things that wall a Barogoyf. I considered doing something that looked like this as well to get things outside of range of Bowmasters, and decided the better of it. If you end up with more legendary creatures in your build, like if you end up with a bunch of sideboard Thalias or something like that, maybe this becomes reasonable. But this deck comes out of the gates extremely quickly and has a good mid game. In a fair metagame, I like this one a lot. Best Soul Sisters deck ever? Honestly, might actually be. If you have any thoughts about how we can make it better or what we could do with the sideboard slots, please throw those down in the comments below. This might not be the last that we see this one. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya.